drinking all night, got into a fight. Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel so good. I wanna go home.
Ready?
What's something trying to say? See how the make sense. Call the captain and sure let me go home. Let me go home. I wanna go home. Yeah, yeah. I feel so good. I wanna go home.
Wait, thank you.
Ray-Bone,
We're live, Ron. Take it away.
I can feel your blood's getting warm, Ray-Bone. You're about to go national.
Oh, this is unbelievable. This is my man Naha. Nahorady, where we played with the White Sox for a couple of years. Here's my other main man, Ray Burris, who was one of the best right-handed pitchers for many, many, many years. And he should have, hopefully, once this virus is over with, hopefully he can hook up with the Yankees. And Billy, my main.
Good to see you, Boomer.
In the locker room with Joe DiMaggio and Pete Sheehy. This is unreal. But hey, let me tell you something. We've been doing this for about 5 months now, and this is probably going to be one of the best ones because we got some characters. We got Nahorady, who's never backed down from anything. We got Burris, who knocked some people down, and we got Billy, who would tell all the stories. So, I mean, this is fun. So I appreciate y'all coming on, and it's wonderful. And, I mean, hey, we should be watching football. There's hardly any footballs out there, no college, no pros. Nobody hardly watched any baseball. So now we're talking to a lot of Yankee fans and a lot of White Sox fans and some Philly fans out there too, Ray.
Yes,
a lot of Philly fans out there. But hopefully, hey, let me tell you something. Hopefully the Yankees will pick you up and you can work for the Yankees, big guy, because let me tell you something. You be a great person in the organization. I mean, you've been in baseball your whole life. And I just met you down in fantasy camp this year. Well, last year. And I told Lenny, I told Joe that you're probably one of the nicest the people I have ever met. And, everybody that I spoke about you, from Roy White to Mickey Rivers, they all love you, big guy. And you did such a great job down there. And I can see why all the young kids, they love you. And that's why you did a lot of rehab with a lot of pitchers and stuff like that. And hopefully this year the Yankees will pick you up and you go in the organization because you'll make the organization a lot better. I'm just telling you right now. Right, Billy?
Thank you, my brother.
I agree. No questions asked.
Yeah.
His track record for 48 years, I think, has spoken for itself.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I used to watch him. Unfortunately, I never got to play or watch him pitch in person because he's in the other league. And Naha, did you ever face him?
No, but I had a chance to meet him at our meeting with Best Charity in Pennsylvania there. And if I'd have caught him, man, he'd have been in the Hall of Fame twice because that guy and me think like the same thing. Brushing back and drilling if you have to. It is awesome.
Naha, I'd have had you just smiling every time I threw the pitch because I'd have put it right where your mitt was at. Now, the good thing about what you just said, I'm glad I didn't have to face you and Boomer. Because Boomer, when he came up in 75, I'm telling you, that brother had some pop on him. You hear?
Oh man, 290, what is 294 lifetime?
Lifetime. Yeah, he was a real deal. I'm telling you, Boomer, you had some pop, man, from the left side. I'd have had to stand on your hands quite a bit, Boomer, and throw you that snapdragon with the dewdrop, brother.
Boomer, the Scooter would talk about your body or your physique or your athleticism. And when you're the listener or watcher on WPIX, so be it. But you were an athletic guy with that body that hit 329 Over 300 time and time again. So they always talk about your power, Boomer. You ask all of us the questions. What was the deal with getting a hit 1 out of every 3 times at the plate?
Well, I always tell myself, close the eyes and see if you can hit the ball. But you know what? Hey, I was on some bad teams and I was on some good teams. And nowadays, how baseball is played, and I was telling a lot of the fans, and like you, and Ray probably would tell you the same way, baseball is not the same like it used to be. And with all this analytics, and I don't know how you feel about it, Ray or Naha, and you told me you don't watch a lot of baseball. I don't watch a lot of baseball because I don't think it's a good brand of baseball. It's a strikeout or a home run. And Billy, to me, that's no fun, to be honest with you. And I mean, it's no when you have the Joe Maddens and you have the Pinellas who's manager and the Billy Martins or the Ralph Houks or people like that. I mean, you first and third guys and you steal bases. Nowadays, they don't even think about that. And speed is no big deal. They don't even talk, I mean, this guy's real fast. What do they use the speed for? Nothing. I mean, do they steal? No. I mean, it's a totally different brand of baseball. And I mean, I don't like to watch it. We go up to the stadium quite a bit. And I know Naha, when we played on the team for a couple of years with the White Sox, we had from Ralph Garr, who was a type of guy that used to first and third everybody. And, Ralph, as soon as he got up to the plate, he would always do his jabbing, right? Naha, what did Ralph? He was doing all this.
Yeah. I got a Ralph Garr story for you. Remember when we came off a road trip and it was a Rolling Stones concert?
Oh.
And they had all the urinals and stuff out in left field. And it was a double header. And Gar's playing left with the helmet on because, he was a great hitter, but, catching a little bit shaky. But anyway, guy hits a fly ball. He's running. He can't get under again. He dives, and there ain't nothing but poop and pee on him. And he comes running in the dugout. That squeal you're talking about, that was all the way from the outfield in. We have to wait till he got cleaned up and came back out.
He used to squeal as soon as he got on the airplane when we take him road trip.
Oh man,
him and Lamar Johnson and Lamar. And all those guys in Francisco's Barrios, the pitcher. Oh,
man, it was a fun team. It was a fun team, man.
We had from Larry Doby to we had Tony LaRusso and all those guys. We didn't win many ball games, but we had a good time. Bobby Molinaro, Molly. I mean, we had such a good time. And we had your friend, Ray. We had Donnie Kessinger on our team.
Don Kessinger, yeah.
You played with Donnie, didn't you?
Donnie was shortstop when I came up in '73, and Glenn Beckert, Ron Sano, Jim Hickman.
Oh, you had some good teams.
Yeah, Randy Hundley, Milt Pappas was there. Fergie. When I got up in '73, Bert Hooten was still with us.
Yeah.
We had Rick Russell, and it was pretty good rotation right there. Because you only had a 4-man rotation. So that was Fergie, Pappas, Russell, and Bert Hooten at that time. And I was in the bullpen.
They'll say that you won basically 15 games in a row, 3 straight years. And I hear that. You won 15 games in a row, basically 3 straight years with a team that wasn't winning a lot.
No, we weren't winning. We were young. We were young at that time. '73 was my first year in the big leagues. My first year as a starter was '75. And thanks to Mark Grissom, who saw something in me in spring training and told Jim Marshall, the manager, that he's one of my opening day pitcher. I opened up 3 years in a row against Tom Seaver in Chicago. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, the legend, Tom Terrific. But, back in those days, Naha will tell you, Boomer will tell you, Billy, it was about competing. You got out there on that mound, man, you competed because you wanted to show the league and your teammates you belong. And you asked Boomer or Naha, how long did it take you for you to really know that you could survive in the league? How long did it take you? 6 months, 1 year, year and a half?
Well, let me tell you something. It was a playing in New York is a lot different than a lot of different places because
Absolutely.
a lot of people cannot play up in New York because if you have 1 or 2 bad ball games, they're going to boo you out of the city. You know, I mean, you got to perform.
Mhm.
And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of guys that could not play in New York. And when I got to Chicago with the White Sox, it was a little bit different, but the White Sox was a lot different than, you know, it's just like the Mets playing the Yankees. They're like a secondary team. The White Sox were a secondary team to the Cubs, okay? And when you played up on the north side and we played on the south side with all the blue collar workers, and, you know, it was a lot different. And, you know, you knew right off the bat because you had 1-year contracts. When you had 1-year contracts, you got to perform. If, you know, and you know that. And Naha, and you know that when you first signed, if you don't produce, and you had what, 4 good years in the minor leagues, right?
Yeah.
You had 4 good years in the minor leagues, and you know, and we have 1-year contracts. And if you have a bad year, you know, if you get sent down to the minor leagues, making that trip up from AAA or AA back up to the big leagues, that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do. And you know that. And Ray, you know, how many games have you pitched? And you know, hey, when you pitch, when you look at your record and when you pitch in the 7th and 8th inning and, you know, and you lose it 2-1, you don't want to be taken out. You want to pitch.
No.
You want to pitch. You want to, you know.
You didn't got that far. You might as well finish the business.
Oh, absolutely.
Just the way you thought. That's the way we were trained to thought. And I had some good mentors in Billy Williams and Fergie Jenkins and Ron Santo. Jose Cardinal took me under his wing when I first got up. And, you know, you mentioned something earlier, Boomer, about as you were introducing me about, you know, Ray would knock you down. Well, that was part of the survival technique.
Correct.
Yes,
If
sir.
you didn't pitch inside, Naha and Boomer, you didn't respect me.
Absolutely.
Just that simple. You didn't
And if your
respect me.
manager told you to knock somebody down, you better knock them down, because if you don't knock them down, you know, I mean, it's just like, you know, I'm sliding into a catcher. If I'm running from a third, from a base hit from second to home, and Naha has the ball 10 feet in front of me, I better knock him down or knock myself down and try to knock the ball out. I mean, I don't go around, tiptoes around. How about these guys now, Naha? You know, they tiptoe around, and, you know, it's just like, you know, I mean, it's nothing anymore.
Yeah, I can't even fathom that. I mean, I couldn't wait. Here comes a tag play. Every big picture you see, everything you remember is those tag plays at home plate where they banged and all that. And man, I'll tell you what, I blocked the plate. Let's see what happens. One of us is going to go. And when I was trained by Andy Semenek, June Raines, I even dealt the screen a little bit. They told me right off, when you get somebody at home plate, you better bury them. You better hurt them, because if you can't, we'll find somebody who will, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
You know,
Naha.
yes.
Naha, I know you were just in town for our gathering, our event, and it came up. You took Nolan Ryan deep one day. Was that at home? Were you on the road? What's your memories of hitting one out of the park off of Ryan?
Oh man, you get up there and they call me in to hit, and I'm going, oh man, Nolan Ryan, I've never faced him yet. The first pitch he threw me, I went, and the catcher laughed. He says, oh yeah. And it was ball 1, ball 2, ball 3. And I go, thank God, because this ball, when he throws it, it has a downward angle, and it gets about halfway, it flattens out, and then it just explodes like a rocket afterburners or something. Yeah. So then he throws me strike 1, strike 2, and I'm coming to pinch it. I'm swinging. If he threw it over the stadium, I'm swinging. I'm swinging right down the middle as hard as I can, so I look good striking out, right? So anyway, he throws this pitch. It hits my bat. I don't even feel it. I hear clunk. And I don't know if you know Comiskey Park pretty good.
Oh,
But left center field, almost to center field, the ball goes up, misses the roof, and goes through that exit in the top deck. And I'm going, I can't hit a ball that far from second base, you know? So the ball goes out. I go around. I don't even make a noise, I just run around the bases with my head down because I don't want to get drilled next time because that ball's got a chance to go right through me. Oh.
It's true. I mean,
Uh,
hey, Ray, did you ever pitch against Bob Gibson at all?
I never faced Bob Gibson as a starter. I pitched in a game that he pitched against us. For some reason, when Bob Gibson pitched against us, it was always Bob Gibson and Fergie Jenkins. And it's the quickest games I've ever seen in my life, Boomer. Hour and 15 minutes, hour and 50 minutes, 9 innings, complete games by both parties. Unbelievable.
Like Catfish, same way.
Yeah, 1-0, 2-1. You know, Billy Williams take him deep in late innings and win 1-0. He just never could beat Fergie for some reason. But you know the amazing thing about it, I never saw him throw at Billy Williams.
Never
saw him throw at Billy Williams. Everybody hit Sano. It hit Sano. Don't ask me why. Do not ask me why. I don't know. Every fight we had when Sano was with us before he got traded to the White Sox, everybody hit Sano, from Gibson to Jim Barr in San Francisco to Bill Greif in San Diego to Jim Longborg in the Philadelphia Phillies. Everybody hit Sano. And for some reason, whenever it would happen, my first year in 73, Whitey Lockman was the manager. He would call down and say, get Burris up. Really? So I have to come in. Randy Hundley be sitting back there, you know, flipping his thumb. You know, one day he came out to the mound. He said, look here. And Randy had a way of saying things because he's from West Virginia, or Virginia. And, you know, he had that Southern drawl.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a way to say, boy, that just pissed me off. I'm telling you, Boomer, just pissed me off. Well, he knew what he was doing. He was getting me upset so I could just throw the snot out of it. I figured it out later on, but at the time, I didn't know, hey, you know, I got a name. It's Ray. It ain't boy. And he would come out and say, you know, look here, boy, I want you to knock this sucker down. You hear me, boy? And he would he'd say, that's not with a little B, that's a big B. And I was, boy, my veins would start popping out. And I wanted to just throw it through his face mask. And I always would be called in whenever Sano would get hit for some reason. It was kind of interesting after a while, but then they knew I would knock him down. And when I became a starter in 75, my first year as a starter, I was blessed to really perform very well. I finished 15-10 with a 3.65 ERA. I come back in 76, and I'm and this is a true story. I'm 4-10 at the All-Star break. 4-10, Naha. First game after the All-Star break, I pitch a complete game in San Diego, and I lose 2-1. Oh. Now, how I lost? This is how I lost. I got Gene Richards in second base, bloop single to left field where Jose Cardenal's playing. He comes in, throws it to Randy Hundley. Right field. He throws it to Randy Hundley. Randy Hundley goes up the line. Now he's in front of the plate, retrieves the ball. He comes back. He didn't look to see what a runner was. He just went to the corner of the plate. Gene Richards jumped over him and landed on the plate.
No.
2-1, right? I'm devastated. We're on the bus going to Los Angeles to play the Dodgers. I'm looking at the schedule. I got 15 starts left. I'm 4-11, 15 starts left. So I'm looking at the teams I'm playing. Now, 1976 was the year of the Cincinnati Reds. They're back-to-back world championship. I got 2 starts against the Reds in the month of August, both at home in Wrigley Field. So I figured out I could go 11-2-2. And this is the gospel, because Randy Hundley comes back and he's sitting there talking to me. He said, Raybone, how many starts you got left? I said, I got 15 left. He said, how many do you think you can win? I said, I can win 11 of them. He said, okay, we'll go 11-2-2. I went 11-2-2, 6-0 in the month of August, pitcher of the month in the National League in August, beating out Jerry Koosman for the Mets, who won 20 games that year. I finished 15-13 with a 3.10 ERA.
Cha-ching, contract.
Okay. The next year, 77, I'm 14-15 pitching the last game of the season in Pittsburgh. 14-15. I can go 3 years in a row winning 15 games. So I'm walking through the clubhouse with my charity cup out and my shades on. I need 3 runs today, guys. Come on. I know you had a party last night. I just need 3 runs today, right? I ended up losing that game 3-1, right? So I finished 14-16.
No.
What I didn't know, Boomer, Naha, and Stapes, somebody pointed out to me years later, in those 3 years, and this is something you don't see in the game today, in those 3 years, I had 23 complete games.
No, seriously.
Seriously.
That has to be close to a record.
23 complete games in those 3 years.
Wow.
I mean, that's 7 complete games, a little over 7 complete games a year. In those, and you look at games today, it's you don't see complete games today.
Oh, not even close.
I mean, even your Cy Young Award winner may not even have 5. He may have 1, if that.
How many innings did you actually pitch?
My first year in 75, I had 239 innings pitched on 39 starts. I come back in 76 with 249 innings pitched on 39 starts.
They don't even come. What do they, Billy? What do they do now? Ray,
They
what
cry.
do
They get
They
a box
cry.
of tissues when it's the 5th inning.
Yeah.
about 4th inning? They
don't-
after 60 pitches. They want to be taken out.
Well,
I mean,
these are some of the things that I've heard and seen. After you go through the lineup twice, they figure based on analytics that you're going to struggle the 3rd time too. No, you're not, because you're going to make adjustments.
That's right.
You're not going to struggle. You're going to make adjustments. You're going to sit in between innings in the dugout, talking to your catcher. Every inning you go out, you're going to evaluate what's my best pitch in this inning. If I'm a 3-pitch pitcher, okay, my slider may be the best pitch that inning. My fastball may be number 2. My changeup may be number 3. The next inning, it may be my fastball, changeup, slider. It varies. Those are the adjustments you make.
And that's a catcher's job to help you.
You're doggone right. Your catcher puts a sign down. He's making a suggestion. Hey, Raybone, this is what I'm thinking. We talked about this before the game. You put fingers down, I can shake or I can agree.
That's right. Your ball.
Okay.
Yeah, you go with
add or subtract.
You know, you go watch big league. When I go to the stadium, sometimes I'll go downstairs, and these guys,
Yes, sir.
After they hit, I was talking to Swish, Nick, okay, and I said, you know, what do you do when you're DHing? Okay, he said, well, as soon as I hit, I go down into the clubhouse and I look at the computer. I said, what are you going to look at the computer? See if I had some good swings. I said, each and every time you get a bat, it's going to be a total different. It's a different situation. A pitcher is not dumb enough to keep on throwing you the pitch inside. To a left-handed pitcher, hitter in Yankee Stadium, they're not going to throw you in tight. You know, I mean, they're going to throw everything away. And, you know, it depends on the score, who's behind you and who's on base. You know, I mean, I said, what are you looking at the computer for? He said, I want to see if I have a good swing. Hey, it doesn't mean you're going to have a good swing this next time up. I mean, it's too many analytical things. And nowadays, the managers nowadays, and, you know, when I go to the stadium and, you know, Cash is Brian Cashman, and, you know, and everything is analytical. And you've been in the game, you know, for many, many years, and you see this, and you've been in meetings with this, and they talk about it, and they bring these analytical people, these Harvard or Penn State people, Princeton, and they never played baseball before. They never even played intramural baseball before. They sit down, they said, this pitcher is going to pitch this on this pitch. You know, I mean, you know, you've been in these scouting meetings and you listen to all this stuff, and you probably, it kills you because, you know, of how you pitched your whole life, and you don't want to come out. You want to pitch. and you want to pitch and you want to pitch. And, I mean, now, these people, after they throw 60 pitches, they're about ready to go out.
Gone.
Right.
Who did we have with the White Sox? That, Steve didn't really like to come out, did he?
Oh, heck no. Him, Wilbur, all of them. They all wanted Kusick, Kravik. None of them wanted to come out. They'd battle to the end. It was a big difference back then. I mean, everybody wanted to fight for it. They'd fight the manager for the ball.
Yeah. See,
another thing too, Boomer, you take when you play, when you play, the joy of the game was the competitive aspect of it. The joy of the game was to play from beginning to end. Okay. Now, you had certain pitchers, Boomer, that you struggle against. You had certain pitchers you struggle against. I had certain hitters I struggle against. But that didn't mean I shied away from them. Never shied away from them. When it was my time, it's my time. I'm a team player. And the last time I checked, this is a team sport. So I went out there and figured out how I'm going to succeed against this guy. There is a way. Everybody has a
hole
deficiency. Everybody does. You got to find it out. Okay. Pete Rose didn't like the ball in. And I wore him out in. He didn't like it in. He liked it away. Dick Allen, I had to stay inside. Dave Winfield had to stay inside to set up that pitch away. And so the psychological aspect of the game, if I'm facing you, Naha, and I'm busting you hard in, pretty soon you're going to start thinking in, busting you hard in. So I program your mind on where you think I'm going to try to get you out. Now, I haven't forgot the other side of the plate because I can make that pitch too. But the next time up, I may go to the other side of the plate. The next time up, I may throw you just all sliders, slow, just be unorthodox. That's competing.
Yes, it is.
You can't figure me out because you don't know what I'm going to do.
Because you're a real pitcher and you know how to pitch and you know how to pitch the situations. And Billy, if you look at the pitchers nowadays, only thing they care about is after they throw a 95, 98 mile an hour fastball, they look at the scoreboard and see how fast they threw it. They don't understand. Hey, if you're a big league hitter, you better hit the fastball. If you don't hit the fastball, you're not going to play.
I was down in Clearwater to just sit there before the fans came in and sit with Ray. I actually wanted to sit back and watch him do his job. So there for an hour or two, and then we go out for dinner. It is amazing the things you learn, after everybody leaves the ballpark. So we're sitting there and we're chatting, and I said, Ray, you looked, and it's uncommon for him. I go, you looked a little frustrated today, and then you regained and came back to being the old Raybone. So I said, what was the deal? And Raybone, when he gets them eyes and his finger points at you, he says, I'm working with a young man that's trying to get back from the disabled list. I'm trying to teach him to be a pitcher, not a thrower. The doctor says he can throw this many pitches a day. And after 3 pitches, all he wanted to know was how fast his pitch was. Do you remember that day, Raybone?
I remember that day. I was livid. He
didn't, his form, his curveball, anything about pitching, he only wanted to know how fast he was throwing.
Now, the thing about that, none of them were for strikes. He was only concerned about how fast he was throwing.
That's so true.
None of them for strikes. So I'm terrible. Like, seriously?
I guess it don't matter.
It don't matter. I mean, if you lighten the scoreboard up, like Ron said, hey, then you're going to get the ball. Well, no, not necessarily. Because you know what? You go out there and walk 5 in a row, patience is not there, my friend. Right. So I was a little livid.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead, Billy.
Billy.
About a minute ago, Naha, Raybone said the name Dick Allen. So I got to bring this up to you. I was in Phoenix doing some interviews in March, and I talked to a shortstop who was a first-round draft pick, Jack Heidemann. And he hung on and was there for a bunch of years with Cleveland and then the Mets and the Cardinals. So I brought your name up, and Heidemann goes, Nahorady. Him and Dick Allen swung the biggest, heaviest bats in all of baseball. And that's what I remember. Naha, tell us, right? I hear it more than once. Why and how big was your bat that these guys are talking about that 40 years later? Why did you use a big bat? Why so heavy? And how did it work out for you?
I had when I'd grab a light bat, I'd be ahead of everything. I'd be leaning, I'd be jumping, and I'd also check my swing, which I didn't like. So my manager told me, he says, Bill, get a heavier bat. You know, this is Nolan Campbell, an A-ball. He's get a heavier bat. And he got me a K55, 35, 35. And I was not as bad. So then I went to a K44, which is a thicker handle, 36, 36, and then a 37, 37, depending who was pitching. And that way I could work the bat and set up the pitchers. You know, they think I'm doing one thing and I'd be going opposite field, or else I'd be ready to yank, you know, but it would keep me from checking my swing and getting out in front of the pitch. I want to hear about Ray Bone's home run.
Oh, you got one. How many did you get, Ray?
Man, all you need is one, bro.
Oh, you got one? Who did you get it off of? Tell me.
Buzz Capra.
Oh, no, from the Mets? Or Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I got it in Atlanta.
You got a
Old
breaking pitch
Wilton
off of
County
him?
Stadium.
Breaking pitch?
Boomer,
Yeah.
line drive. This is interesting. That was I pitched against Buzz Capra. This is first game of doubleheader. He started. Now at that time, he's leading the National League in ERA with a 2.4 or something. Yeah. I mean,
won the title.
down. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's down on your toenails. That's how he kept the ball down, right?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't know that I was a inside fastball. I was a low fastball hitter, you know, kind of like Jeff Burrows from the right side.
Mm.
And I use a C271, Naha.
Yep.
Okay.
And the brother came into my zone, and I did just like you did against Nolan. I didn't shut my eyes, but I put a hell of a swing on it.
He turned on
Line
it.
drive off of Chief Nakahoma's TP. Line drive. I brought the brother out of the TP, hollering and hooping. Right?
Nice.
Three run shot. That day I went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and a complete game 13-4 victory, and I still got the ball.
Nice.
That's the most you leaned into the camera the whole interview.
Well, I got
excited by hitting. He's all up.
Because I was reliving the moment. The juices were flowing, just so you know.
See, they don't understand, you know, hey, people don't understand when you hit that home run, when you swing a bat, and just like Naha, when he hit off of Nolan, and he didn't even feel it. And let me tell you something, that ball just took off.
It did.
And when Raybo hit that ball, I guarantee he didn't feel it either. He just saw that left fielder go back and he hit that TP, and Chief Nakahoma was just jumping up in his TP, right?
I'm telling you, line drive. I didn't even know the ball went out. I did not know it went out. I'm running around the bases like Scott Rowland, man. I'm trucking, right? So that day, I was a triple away from the cycle, Naha.
Well, nice.
I had a home run, double, and a single with 4 ribbies, my brother.
Man, that's money right there, buddy.
You are going right.
Hey, I got 1 stolen base. My career.
One.
Now, who did you steal it off of?
Ron Guidry in New York with Mike Heath catching. And I'm telling you, I'm getting off the base. I'm like, man, I'm like halfway. I got no sign, you know? And I says to myself, if I get a stolen base, because it's already in my head, this is the time. I'll pay the $50 or whatever they're going to find me. I'm leading off. His first move, I start running, and I don't run that fast. So I got a chance to look in, and I seen a curveball. I seen it in the dirt. Throw to second base. I'm out. How'd the ball get there that fast? The umpire looks. He goes, safe. Bucky Dent comes over. He goes, whatever. I can't remember the umpire's name, but he says, what do you mean he's safe? He says that's his first stolen base. The doggone umpire knew it too, you know? So and that's a true story. I got 1 stolen base in New York with Guidry pitching.
No.
Hey, Naha, in that house of yours, the biggest thing you have from baseball, the biggest award, has to do with spitting, not
Oh, yeah.
hitting. Would you please share with the audience what that big award is in your house about spitting?
Yes, we are in the Houston Astrodome, and I think it was, oh God, I can't remember. But anyway, the Beach Nut was having a spitting contest, and they had all these people that had won contests all over the country to qualify. And the guy walks by from Beach Nut. Anybody want to do this? And I, well, heck yeah, I'll do this. So my first spit was 19 feet 6 inches, the size of a $50, dead in the center. I didn't think nothing of it. I seen half the farmers going home and stuff. They now they don't want to even do it now, you know. So anyway, I go home and I get this huge award from Beach. I was rookie catcher of the year with the White Sox, and I got no trophy, nothing. I'm waiting for my trophy, right? You know, Topps rookie catcher of the year. I think this is big. They'll present this to me next year. I come in, it's in a dirty old box, and it's a little trophy. You know, I thought, okay, this is cool, you know. But this was a monster, man. Good big brass, like gold-plated spittoon, and that's my neatest award, man.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hey, do you live on a farm down in Florida?
I got 2 big acres. I have 5 nectarine trees, 6 plum trees, 2 pomegranate trees, a banana tree, blue bananas. They're blue and then they turn yellow when they're ripe. Honey bell oranges.
Oh.
Yeah, guavas. I can go on and on, but
Where do you live in DeLand?
oh man.
You're up by Gainesville, aren't you?
Yeah, no, by Ocala. Dunellen, sorry.
Dunellen.
Dunellen, I lost my track. I'm sorry, Dunellen, Florida, yeah.
You
That's right
ever
by
go to
Ocala.
the villages? You ever go to the villages?
Oh yeah, I go to the villages all the time. We go there, they got good shops and stuff there. It's a really beautiful place and it's growing for miles.
100,000 people. You know who lives there now? Sam McDowell lives at the villages down in Ocala.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, Raybone, where do you live?
I live in Dunedin.
Oh, you live in Dunedin?
Yes.
Oh, Billy, where do you live?
I'm in Allentown, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So your camp is probably, your camp is about an hour's drive when you come up here and run that camp, by the way. And don't think, you may be doing the show with us, but you got to give your camp a plug. How many years did you do that? How many kids did you guys, you know, give an opportunity to? So we're not that far from your camp, buddy.
We got 6,000 kids every single year.
Wow.
And it's a largest Jewish sleepaway camp. It's just not sports. It's everything. It's a sleepaway. I mean, from kids of about 6 years old up to about 15, 16 years old. It's a wonderful camp. It's an hour. It's 45 minutes away from Scranton. It's right up in the Poconos. You know, you wake up in the morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'll go to the gym in Port Jervis. You know where Port Jervis is?
Yep.
And Port Jervis, okay? And, you know, whenever I go, you know, it's, they show on the baseball camp. But whenever we go, there's a lot of bears up there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bears. And you know who hunts up there and fishes up there? Remember the Rocky Calavito?
Oh, yeah.
Remember Rocky Calavito? He
Yeah.
lives up in Reading, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you knew that. And he hunts and fish right up in the Milford, Pennsylvania area, right up in the Poconos. It's gorgeous up there.
The university that I work for, I'm about a half hour away from your camp, and I live probably 50 minutes away from your camp.
Really?
So I want an invitation so that I can bother you and hang out.
You got it. Oh, you got it. You know, everybody says that your event is unbelievable. And when we started putting all this stuff together, they said they were Billy's event. I said, Naha and Ray, what kind of event was this? And how many years have you had this?
It's our 13th year. Yeah. And we've, the objective, like a lot of groups, our objective is to take a kid in 12th grade that might not be going to college. The ability to go, but certain circumstances may or may not be able to go. So we give them 8 checks over 4 years, a check after you bring back your grades. So when you have to do a fundraiser, we've all been to so many chicken dinners and fundraisers. So I thought, who helped me get where I was at? And it was you ball players. You spent time with me, you talked with me. So it's not that the kids know you guys, but I know the fans will come out. And we got this program. In fact, the last time we got together, Cards for Kids. So they'll be aware of you. I was with a kid today, Raybo Naha. I interrupt the story where a kid named Jacob, he's 28 years old. He's been married for 2 years, married a girl from Mexico. And he came over today because he wanted to go over a life-changing decision. I swear to you, we're at my kitchen table. And he said, Stapes, I never really cared for baseball, but those cards you gave me, I still have them today from a kid named Jacob. And I said, I'm going to be with Raybone and Naha tonight. I said, you got to tell those guys that because you signed for fans and through the mail and all that stuff. But when you actually connect with a use for something, it's different. So Boomer, I said, if there's 25 guys on a major league team, why don't we have you guys, the Boomers, the Raybones, the Nahas, invite your friends. And if you really have a good time at an event, I saw you at Tepedino's event, Boomer. If you have a good time, you'll not only come back, but you'll invite your close guy or two that you haven't seen in a while. So it's grown and grown and grown. This year we were sold out plus standing room only at an outdoor event so that we followed the state restrictions. So we have one fundraiser a year, and the laughter in the VIP room and the joking, I'm looking right at you, Raybone, and Naha, you got a line as long as a Hall of Famer. So all these people just want to meet you, Boomer. And then the whole thing is not about baseball. Once the meet and greet's over, it's about the kids and their graduation stories. Raybone,
You gotta have, you need to let us know because we could get some, what, Lenny?
No, I just want to say, Joe Roberto, who I invited tonight because he helped us with this, attends Billy's event. And I know Joe wanted to say something to Billy, so here's your chance.
Hey, Billy, how you doing?
you know what? Remember the first phone call? And I just said, just get here?
Yes.
I remember the first time I spoke to you. And
You're
I said, after you get here once, I'll never have to invite you again.
Correct. And it's the opportunity. I grew up in the 70s. I was a big fan of Mr. Burris's as a Met fan. I think he played in the late 70s, Mr. Burris, with the Mets.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I was a big fan. And to go to these events, and I met Bill Naha there and his wife, Gail. He showed my son his baseball bat, his big, heavy bat. And, just to talk to these guys. But what I like about the event, you told the story this year, Bill, it really hit me. And correct me if I go wrong somewhere with it. But you had told the story that you had a kid at the crossroads and you needed some help and you called Larry Holmes.
I did.
And Larry Holmes went out to dinner with this kid. And I just thought to have that opportunity, a gentleman like Mr. Holmes, to then give up his time and become sort of a mentor. And you talked about the trail that kid took. I was very impressed by that. I really liked that part of the event. I really enjoyed it. Did I have the story right?
Not only mention it, Joe, but the young lady who was thinking about quitting college when she was halfway in,
Right.
she didn't know who Larry Holmes was.
Yeah.
That's great because Larry doesn't need for her to know. And
Right.
Larry said, I'm going out to dinner with my wife tonight. Why don't the two of you join us? She was a graduate that night. She stood up. She's got a bachelor's degree, and she's not going to live the rest of her life in the hood.
Very impressive. I really appreciated that part of the story. And I had a chance to meet Bill that night and Ray, and it was an honor. Like I said, Ray, I was a big fan growing up in the late 70s.
Well, thank you, my brother. All right.
You
I
were
never
at
knew about this, Billy,
the kids have to report in, Raybone, all 27 of them, and physically hand in their grades and sit in front of the board. My favorite memory of you with this whole thing, and I know you have invited Andre Dawson and Lee Smith and Tim Raines, and I thank you for it. But my favorite thing, Raybone, was when you flew in from Florida and you sat there. Go ahead. You watched them, kid after kid, hand in those transcripts.
Now, the beautiful part of that for me was seeing and hearing the stories that each male and female went through. And I remember this one lady who was going to the University of Penn State. And she was driving from Allentown to Happy Valley, going to school, coming back, driving back, and that's what, 3.5 hours?
At least
About
two
three
and
and
a
a
half.
half hours?
Yep.
2.5. Driving, doing schooling, coming back, working part-time, getting up and driving away the next day for a whole semester. And
I know, brother.
People don't
hey,
realize.
that did something to me. That really did. It touched me so hard because I could identify as a youngster growing up the sacrifice that she was making to get something done. And I'll tell you, Boomer, I was hooked from that day on. I really was.
You're invited in, Boomer, and we're doing a favor for you. I promise you. I don't mean it any other way.
Oh, no,
except
no, no, no. Hey, you
you'll-
got me. And I just heard about it. And, Lenny told me and Joe Garrido, they told me about it. And I said, I don't know anything about it. I don't think any of our guys knew anything about it. And, I mean, I could bring up a Mickey Rivers. I could bring up a Roy White. I could bring up this guys around Jimmy Liritz, people, Goose Gossage, maybe, people like that. I mean, it's hop skipping away from New York. And people don't realize, okay, now, people don't realize how tough this world is. There's 42 million people out of work now. Okay. People are hurting no matter what. This is a perfect storm for everything. People just need to come together. People just need to hold hands. People just need to love one another again. And, and just this hatred, they just need to just leave this, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but, something's going to happen good. And, with these people are hurting so bad. And I look at what baseball did, okay? What baseball did when they start talking about the salaries, about, with 42 million people out of work, okay? And they started negotiating, they're not going to make their $20 million. They're going to make their $8 million. I said, that's not the place to do this. There's people are hurting. Ray, Naha, everybody, there's people hurting out there. I said, this is what I do. We don't make any money, but this is the greatest thing in the whole world is to touch the fans of the people out there.
Agree.
These people are baseball fans or just people that want to listen to baseball sports or just listen to people and, some nice things, some funny things. We listen to bad things, 23 hours a day. And now, for an hour of our time, we could give back to people. I mean, hey, you grew up, Ray grew up, Naha grew up. I had no money when I was growing up. And, probably Ray and Naha the same way. I mean, we worked very hard for what we got. And, and these people that I'm doing Zoom for, and I had no idea what a Zoom's on, whatever. I'm not a social person with all this social media. I had no idea how to do it. And like I tell people, it's easier for me to hit Nolan Ryan rather than do this social media, okay? But to give back to these people and, to be able to talk to them, Ray, Naha, and, when Naha was telling me that, he doesn't know the players out there now. I can't pronounce these guys' names either. I have no idea. I can't pronounce the people's names. But you know what? We're talking to regular people out here that are baseball fans and are fans and just good people. That's all.
Boomer, tonight for your show, I'm promising you that you will have one of your biggest audiences of folks that don't know much about baseball, but because Ray and Naha come every year and get to know more and more people that aren't there to meet baseball players, well, Raybone and Naha have their own following. And their own following are young people, college kids, and their families that don't follow baseball, but they follow Raybone and Naha. So it's even more of a baseball show as in a real life show tonight, Boomer, because of all the different people that are coming in that aren't just baseball fans.
See, I love y'all for doing this. And, we played a sport. We lived a fantasy. Ray lived a fantasy. Naha lived a fantasy. We did something what we wanted to do. Okay. These fans out there, these are the real heroes. These are the people that, stayed after a game, came to the hotels, sent baseball cards, signing autographs for. The day that people don't ask for an autograph, the people that say hi, walking at the stadium, walking down the street of Philly, Tampa, or, wherever, that makes you feel really good. I could not live with myself that, if I was around people, if I was mean to people and people, they're afraid to talk to me, just like Ray. Ray, when I met Ray down in Tampa, people just gravitated to him because they loved him because, he's a true man. Naha, when I first met him in Chicago, he was wonderful. He was great. We talked about his days in Hamtramck up in Detroit, right outside of Detroit. We went out to lunch. We went out to dinner. We won games. We lost games, but we played hard.
You came to my house.
And yeah, I went to his house and had dinner with his folks. We played hard. Ray played hard. It wasn't easy from the minor leagues up to the big leagues. We had to work. We had to work hard. We had 1-year contracts. You don't perform, they'll send you down to the minor leagues. It's just like a Wally Pip. You have a hard chance to come back up to the big leagues. But if you work hard, and I tell these fans, what we're going through now, it's not a good time. It's a terrible time. But for some reason, something good's going to happen out of this. And, for whatever reason, I don't know when, but something good's going to happen. And, and to be able to talk to Ray and to you and to Naha and, to all the people out there, all the fans, and like listening to us, it's fun. This is fun. Hey, what else you going to do? You going to watch Law and Order? You going to watch?
We have a gift for you, Boomer.
What are you going to do?
All right. Hey, Boomer, are you ready? Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot, but we've prepared for this. We have a gift.
What?
If you reflect back, you got drafted in '67. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I just want to let you know that we've prepared. Motown was pretty big when you got drafted.
Temptations.
Motown was all over the place.
Yeah.
So we're just simply asking you, can you pick one of your 1 or 2 favorite Motown artists for a song going back to that year?
Oh, that's easy. I love Sam and Dave. I love the Drifters. I loved all those guys. I used to live, let me tell you something. I used to go to Sylvia's in Harlem. I don't know if you ever been to Sylvia's before, Ray, in Harlem. We used to go to the Apollo, Mickey Rivers, Jim Ray Hart, Bobby Bonds, Chris Shamlis, Mickey Rivers, we all, and AJ Alex Johnson. We used to go to the Apollo. We listened to Sam and Dave, the Temptations. We listened to
Temptations, Ray.
To Dionne Warwick. Hey, I'm from the South. I didn't like any of it. Hey, I grew up with this. I grew up with Motown down in Macon, Georgia.
Are you ready for your gift, Boomer?
Yes.
All right. Raybone, we've said.
You got a little soul in you, huh?
Here we go, baby.
I got a little
1, 2, 3. Raybone.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. Mm-hmm. When it's cold outside, we've got the month of May. What do we say, Boom? Hey. I guess you say what can make me feel that way, my girl,
my girl,
talking about my girl, my girl. I took it back to
I told you, Boomer.
Oh, the Temps and the Four Tops and the Intruders and the Staple Singers. Hey, I live with those people.
Yeah.
Hey, I grew up. Hey, Raybone, that is unbelievable.
Fantastic.
You are great. And this is unbelievable. This is fun.
That's what life is all about, my friend.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is fun.
So you got
That's what I like.
serenaded on your own show, Boomer.
This is wonderful. Now, how about you singing?
Naha's my guitarist. Naha, will you get that guitar?
What
Give me a
you
little
want?
sloop. Give me a little sloop, John B.
Sloop
Okay, I
John.
just did some. I'll do some more.
That was before we were on the air, brother. Come on. Naha, give me some juice, man.
Come on.
Come on, Sloop John B. My grandfather and me. Around Nassau town we did roam. Drinking all night. Got into a fight. Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel so broke up. I wanna go home.
By the way, Naha.
Go ahead, Naha.
Naha.
Hey, Boomer.
That's the-
Boomer. I did acapella, Boomer. Just so
Oh,
you
this
know.
has
All
been
right, all right.
This has been fun. This is a wonderful time. This is great.
Oh my goodness, this is wonderful.
Hey,
This is
Boomer.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And turn the tables. You got drafted #1 and you signed this contract. You're a young kid. So when you got that first check, I always ask Ray Bone, I've asked Naha, you got your first check. It was a pretty good sized check. What did you do? You had to do something with that first check.
I never had a car before, so I bought a brand new 442 Oldsmobile green with white rims. With white rims. I felt like a star. I think I paid like $7,000 for a brand new car back then. Yeah, I had a 442. What did you do, Naha? What did you do?
I got my money. I wanted a red Corvette, 72. My dad says, no, they'll think you're a hot rod and they'll send you home. I go, oh man. So what does he buy me? A Caprice. I used it for 1 year and then I gave it to him. I said, Dad, I can't drive this, you know? So I bought a Blazer, 4-wheel drive Blazer.
Oh, Rainbow, what did you do?
I didn't have as much money as you guys had, man. You know, when I signed in '72, I signed for $3,000. $3,000.
You got to get the Billy Williams, Ernie Banks story, Ray Bone. It's so touching.
Oh, I mean, I remember getting 2 installments of $1,500 and going to the post office buying 15 $100 money orders and counted them right at the desk. And the guy was so amazed at me counting that. He could probably tell I didn't have that much money, but I just saved it. I saved it. I didn't buy a car, didn't have enough to buy a car. What I did was I bought not a new car. I bought a 57 Chevy.
Ooh, nice.
And I put a brand new Chevrolet engine in it that cost me $250. Complete engine. And
when you were in Arizona, Ray Bone, and you made the Cubs, something happened that day, that week, where you were taken somewhere. You know,
this was
a Hall of Famer. It'll kill you.
I was drafted in '72 out of Southwestern Oklahoma State College at that time, NAIA school, 17th round draft choice. They bring me to Bradenton, Florida for the mini camp. I'm here for 2 weeks, and thank God for Danny Murtaugh, who made the decision between me and Dennis Lamp on who was going to AA in Midland, Texas. And Danny Murtaugh picked me over Dennis Lamp. Whitey Lockman, who was my first manager in the big leagues, was the minor league farm director, and Fred Martin was the minor league pitching coordinator. So Fred Martin wanted me, Whitey wanted Dennis Lamp, and Danny Murtaugh made the decision, right? So I go into AA, meet the club in Little Rock, Arkansas, where the biggest mosquitoes I ever seen in my life. Now, I grew up in Oklahoma, but I ain't never seen mosquitoes that big. I finished the season 7-5. My last start was in Amarillo, which was a AA of the San Francisco Giants. I have a no-hitter going into the bottom of the 7th inning and finished with a 1-hitter. And the general manager was there. John Holland, and I get an invite as a non-roster player to spring training in '73. My first spring training in baseball was with the Major League Club. So naturally, I'm on a high. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to Wichita, which is a AAA for the Cubs at that time. So we're down to the last week of spring training, and I'm out in center field. Barney Schultz is the pitching coach. He comes to the dugout and he calls me, Burris, waves me in. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to Wichita. Yeah, I finally got the word. I mean, that's where my mind was at. Never thought I'd make the big club at that time. He calls me in. Whitey's behind his desk, and he's sitting there. Well, he's got this snidely whiplash grin on his face. You know, like, I got some news for you. It's going to blow your mind. And my mind is already just poised to hear Wichita. He said, Ray, you know, he goes through his spiel. He said, welcome to the Chicago Cubs. Went right over my head, Boomer. Went right over my head. Didn't hear nothing. He looked at me. He said, did you hear me? I said, what did you say, sir? He said, I want to welcome you to the Chicago Cubs. You made the Chicago Cubs 25-man roster. I leaped out of that chair doing the Toyota leap. I'm telling you, I was in midair, clicking my heels. Funniest thing, I think he had more fun watching me react to it than anything. The next day, I get to the ballpark. Ernie Banks comes to me and he says, after practice, I'm gonna take you somewhere. I said, okay, Mr. Banks. After practice, he puts me in his car. He takes me to his dealership in Phoenix, Arizona, and walks in there, tells the owner, I want you to take care of this man. He's going to be a Chicago Cub for a long time. And the owner said, what car do you want? And I'm looking at him like, excuse me? He said, what car do you want? Pick out any car you want. I picked out a sky blue and white Cutlass Supreme 1973. He throws me the keys, Naha. He said, drive it on out of here. I said, is this the big leagues?
Wow.
I ain't gonna go down very long after this. When Ernie Banks did that to me, I'm telling you, man, it's like, a lot of things flashed in my mind in regard to raised up as a kid in Oklahoma in the fields. We were sharecroppers, but to be able to drive out there with a brand new car, it was like, it didn't hit me until probably midsummer. And I only spent 1 year in the minor leagues, my whole career, 1 year in the minor leagues total. Rest was in the big leagues. So I'll never forget that.
It's a good one. I use it often, Ray-Bone, when I'm talking to the kids. I do.
I'll never forget it.
You know, I mean, it's when somebody, takes you into a family. Like, I was very lucky. I started with the Yankees and I went to the White Sox. But when I started with the Yankees, I remember when CBS owned the team, and then CBS sold the team to George Steinbrenner. And when George came in 1973, he sat us down before a game. Bill Verdon was the manager. He fired Bill Verdon, and then we got Billy Martin, of course. And then he sat down. He said, whatever y'all need, you play hard for me, I'll take care of you. We're going to bring a winner back to the Yankees. We're going to bring it's going to be a great time, but you got to give me 120%. And he said, you're part of a family now. And that's what he was. And I don't know if y'all have ever met George before, but George was a wonderful guy. He was a tough man, but he was fair. He wanted to win for the Yankees. He brought everything. He did everything for the team, everything for the New Yorkers. And we got very lucky and we won a few games, and, we won the pennant a few times. And, but that's the type of guy he was. And, and I think this guy with the Mets, this Steve Cohen guy, I think, because he's a fan, and I think he's going to bring a winner to the Mets. And, I don't want to say that because it's taken away from the Yankees, but I think he's coming. He's just like George. He's a fan, and he's going to spend money, and he's going to watch the team win. And it's going to be fun to watch, hopefully, the Yankees and the Mets in a few World Series games together and have Subway Series. And it's going to be fun again, like the White Sox and the Cubbies. And hey, that's it's fun to be able to play this game, fun to be able to talk to people like yourself. And that's why we are brothers. We got a very small fraternity. People don't realize it. And when somebody passes away, it really hits you, even if you don't know them. And, and to meet you and, and you send pictures to, and you went to Yankee Stadium when you're like 6 years old, and you're with me when you're 7 years old. And, and Ray, I never met him till at Yankee Fantasy Camp. And Naha, I knew about him, of course. And when I went to Chicago, and I loved him, and we became very close friends. We are a family, and we are a fraternity, and you love these people, and, and I love them, and I love y'all. And, and it's the greatest thing in the whole world to be able to talk to y'all and to relate to some of the fans out there, your stories. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's great. And that's what we give back to the people. And that's why I'm looking forward to come back to your event next year.
Yeah. Thank you, Boomer.
Naha, and hey, Naha, you drive all the way from Florida all the way up to Pennsylvania, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's worth it.
Somebody told me, it's true. Wait, Lenny, I don't know where Lenny is. Somebody told me that you stop off. You don't stop. You ask him. He's right there. Do you stop and talk to your fans?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that you actually stop at fans' houses on the way up.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Yeah, hey, great.
Absolutely. Say hello, have lunch, keep on going when I can.
Fantastic. We have to take him to Harold's Deli one day.
Hey, Boomer.
Yeah.
Boomer, if I may. Back when I met you, they had that picture up there, and you're the one that brought up the Bill Verdon, Billy Martin thing. One of my favorite stories is you guys were getting dressed for Old Timers Day, and you were sitting at your locker, and Dick Hauser, in fact, that picture was probably taken just literally 10 to 15 minutes before this occurred. So Dick Hauser and Ellie Howard, they were like two peas in a pod. Boomer, they walked up to me and said, Billy, we gotta put you in another room for a few minutes. So I got led into Mr. Verdon's office, Bill Verdon's office. And you know as well as I do, the day before that Saturday, Friday night, Bill Verdon was your manager.
Yeah.
So I go into Bill Verdon's office, and I think I'm 11 years old, and I'm sitting there in the chair behind the desk. Boomer, there's nothing in there. Meaning, I looked around. What do I know? All this stuff was gone. So I walked over to the door, and I opened that door, I don't know, 3 inches, and I listened to, with my ears, trying to peek around the corner, Billy Martin getting announced to you guys as the new Yankee manager for the first time Billy Martin was manager. You were one of the 25 guys in there that day. Yep. And it was announced in front of all the old timers and you ball players. Yep. And I tell that story, and I'm like, dude, am I not the luckiest guy in the world? Am I not, what a great childhood to be
You're
part
a fly on the wall. You got in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got in there. But Ray would tell you, hey,
you know what, Boomer? I know how he got in there because he looked like the Karate Kid.
You do. Mr. Mayanucci, is that his name?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayanucci or
Wax
whatever?
Wax off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
I tell you, this has really been fun.
Billy, can I ask a question to Billy? I'm very curious on something. Hi, Billy. I'm Ray. I'm friends with Ron and work with a broadcast company. We hire people on the spectrum and disabilities. But Pete Sheehy would, at that age, I'm about your age. Did he talk about Babe Ruth at all? I was just curious what those stories were of.
So definitely Ray Bone and Boomer will connect. Pete Sheehy was probably the most beloved person in the history of the Yankees clubhouse. Oh, yeah. And when I went in there, I had my first 15 minutes in the Yankees locker room because of what was explained to me by my grandfather before I ever got in there. Believe it or not, I wanted to go speak to him, just like you're asking that question. And what led me to staying is he said to me, because I was asking him questions, he said, if you want to talk to me, kid, you got to help me. So you might as well come along. He had stuff to do. And he was so humble. He was so no me, I, or my. It's almost he was embarrassed to answer a question. He was that humble. Boomer, Raybone, you both knew Pete. Are you feeling what I'm saying? How quiet? Or
Oh, yeah, he was there with Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig,
Yeah.
everybody. That's
Yeah.
where he was. And, I mean, you look at him and, we had, hey, I was very lucky because I lived in New York during the off season, and I used to go down to the stadium all the time, and we used to sit at the old oak, his desk that everybody signed, and everybody signed balls and stuff, and and it's like 100 years old, and we sit there, and he would just give stories. And
I love it.
look at him. I mean, I'm looking at him. He was the greatest guy in the whole wide world. He knew everybody. And you look at this, and he was the nicest human being you have ever met before in your whole life. I loved him to death. I loved him.
You said about signing the balls. I can remember sitting at that wooden picnic table, and he said, kid, make sure you mark them off the list, get everybody to sign the balls. So I'm sitting there with Rick Dempsey. He was a rookie catcher, started out with the Yankees. And so I crossed his name off the list because I got to get everybody. And some of you guys, I'm not saying you, Boomer, but some of them were more work getting them on the balls than the others.
He found most of them.
Dempsey said, who do you need? That's what I remember. I was like, he feels, when you get 22 or 21, I only got 3 or 4 guys to go, man. And Rick Dempsey, God love him. He was one of the few players that not only signed the balls, he would ask me, who did I need? And he'd go tap somebody on the shoulder and help me out to get him to sign the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a character. Hey, remember Naha, Raybone, you remember Rick Dempsey, right?
Yes.
He was a character, that guy.
He was a character.
He was a character. But let me tell you something, right? He was the catcher behind Thurman. But let me tell you something. And, we traded him to Baltimore, but he was really a good catcher. We got him from Minnesota. And he came over. And, I mean, he had a great arm. I mean, he had probably one of the best arms I've ever seen as a catcher. I thought he had a better arm than Bench. And, and Bench had a great arm, but, this guy, he had a great arm. But he finally had unfortunately, he couldn't beat out Thurman, and he went to Baltimore and had a great career in Baltimore. And I still think he's working for the broadcast booth up in Baltimore, and he's done extremely well. And George taught him how to be a man, and look at him now. And it's he played the game the way it is, and he became very successful.
Hey, Joe, I know you're over here on my screen. At the event, you're so caught up, with 25 players, and I don't have a lot of time. I try to get everything done. The number one thing this year on my personal checklist is when Scott McGregor got there, Tippy Martinez, and Rudy May, before it got crazy, I wanted a picture with the trade. So I got Tippy, McGregor, and Rudy May, and we all got in a picture together. That was my number one thing to get done because of those Yankee-Oriole trades. And we had 3 of the guys right there at the same event.
You got the dude. Remember Ray and Naha, the dude. Oh, he could throw. When he was with the Angels, when we traded for him, when he was with the Angels, he had a great curveball.
Yeah.
Great curveball. What a great guy. He was
he could pitch.
Nice guy.
He could pitch.
Oh, he could pitch. He could pitch.
Rudy
Yeah.
gave a best story I heard from Rudy the whole weekend with you guys being in town is he says he grows up outside of Oakland, California. And I said, give me a childhood story. And so he mentioned all the guys in the off season that would come home and they'd get to see the major league players maybe be around the neighborhood or take batting practice. And he said, do you know the first kid I ever played catch with also went to the major leagues? He lived across the street from me and we would throw the ball. You know how a car would go by and you'd throw it over the car? So we would throw the ball back and forth. And when they were scouting me, because I was big and tall, our little tiny second baseman, sometimes the scouts, would notice him too. He just had to grow into his own. And it took single A, double A, triple A for him to get better. And he goes, the first person I ever played catch with was little Joe Morgan.
Mm.
Really?
Good story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Rudy,
That's
the
amazing.
dude was from Oakland, wasn't he? Was he from Oakland?
Oakland, San Fran area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah. Yeah.
And he would tell stories about Billy Martin and Gil McDougall, and all. They were just pushing talent out the door because they could play 52 weeks a year. And it was a hotbed for ball players.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Did you play with or against anybody in high school or summer ball, Boomer, that also made it to the bigs? Was there somebody else?
I did not. I played against basketball, Walt Frazier.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Remember, yeah. Elmo Smith. I don't know if you remember Elmo Smith.
I remember Elmo.
Played against him. He was down in Savannah and I was up in Atlanta. There was a guy that played in Indiana and then I think he went to Seattle Supersonics, a guy named Joby Wright, real big guy, about 6'8", 250 pounds. And he was 6'8", 250 pounds in high school. And high football I did. Fran Tarkington was before me. Jake Scott, who just passed away. I don't know if you remember him. He was with the Miami Dolphins, a defensive back. Safety was great. He was a Hall of Fame guy. I mean, we played, a lot of guys, a lot of great athletes, and Ray and Naha would tell you, there was a lot of great athletes that never made it. And they never made it because they don't have it right here. They think they just go on ability, right, Ray? And they just want to pitch and pitch and pitch and just make the team. They don't know how hard it is. They got to have more than anything. People or the people that have great ability, if they don't get injured, they're probably missing the big thing, the heart. And that heart is a big portion of making the big leagues. It is. That heart is, because it's not easy. I always tell people, you got to fail to succeed.
Yes.
You're going to fail, but the people that make it out of being a failure and make it be stronger, those are the people that become successful. And that's what I tell people.
Naha, what was interesting when we first got back together, just like Boomer was saying, you got this little dot of the city of Detroit. You grew up in this little tiny Polish area. You did the same thing as Boomer. You reeled off like 3, 4, 5 guys that were from your neighborhood, from your area, that made it to professional sports. Do you mind sharing a couple of those names?
Oh man.
Pinky one guy was an outfielder for the Tigers, and you see him at the fantasy camp. I think was Rudy Tomjanovich one of them?
Rudy Tomjanovich, the Pachorics, Ike Blessed. Man, we had all kind of people.
Tom Pachorik and his brothers.
Yeah.
Wimpy.
Yep.
Not bad for a neighborhood, Naha.
Not bad.
There's a ton of them. There's a list. That's why I can't zero in on it.
Not bad.
Well,
Everybody got along in the neighborhood.
I didn't forget.
Hey, Ray, can I ask a question to you? I always wondered
Yes,
about
sir.
for pitchers. My
Yes,
name is
sir.
Ray also, by the way. is the hitting of pitchers, you know, in the National League. It just seems like as a fan, it's almost like they give the at bat up. Maybe not a Gibson or, you know, Seaver, the good hitting pitchers.
Right.
But I always wondered why the pitchers don't pay more attention, because in high school or college, you know, the best players seem to be the pitchers or the shortstop, and they could hit good.
Absolutely.
I know
Absolutely.
them. And then what happens in the pros? They just seem like they almost give the at bat.
They don't hit it. They don't hit as much. They just
They don't care
bunt.
about it as much. They
Especially
just
in the
want
National League, you just bunt, and most of the time your starters are the only one that hit. I don't know how they do it today. Most of the time, starters hit. When I was with the Phillies, we would have the in AA and AAA, all of the pitchers would have to go through several sessions of hitting and several sessions of bunting. Because when they get to the big leagues, they're gonna have to do both. They may have to bunt, they may have to stay in the game and hit, because now you got to face 3 hitters coming out of the bullpen now with the new rule. But there's no pride in it, Ray. There's no pride in it. When we played, there was pride in it. You got in that batting cage and you swung the bat. You know, because you hit in Little League, you hit in Pee Wee, Pony, midgets, all the way up to American Legion. There's just no pride in it. They don't take pride in learning that craft, because they think, well, you're just a pitcher, you can't hit. Yeah, you can. Anybody can hit. If you swing the bat, you can hit the ball. Right? Now,
even the visual looks so bad on the pitchers when you see them up at the plate. It just doesn't look. Yeah.
I was reading a stat the other day. This blew my mind. Don Drysdale, 1965, had 7 home runs. The leader of that team in 1965 that beat the Minnesota Twins in the World Series, Jim Lefevre, had 12.
5 different.
Gus Johnson had 12. They were tied for the lead. How about that? And then he came back in 66 and hit 7 more home runs. Don Drysdale. So they were good hitters. You know, in my era, you had Rick Rhoden, was a good hitter.
Sure.
Former Dodger, finished with the Pirates, good hitter. You had the pitchers for the Pirates. They were good swingers. They swung the bat real good. And, you know, Fergie Jenkins was a good hitter. You know, Bob Gibson was a good hitter. I mean, they swung the bat. Jim Bibby was a good hitter. You know, so
You're making me think, Lenny, Boomer. When we talk and we're not doing this show, if you want, we'll network through me. Why don't we bring on a pair of good hitting, like Rick Wise, you know, who's ever in my circle, or Raybone's circle, because we have so many. Why don't we just bring on a couple of good hitting pitchers on your show in the future?
We'd love to.
Just a couple phone calls away.
We'd love to. You know, I mean, this is, hey, we've been doing this for, I guess, like 2 months. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And our audience are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know what? It's so much fun. And, you know, having people like, you know, Raybone and, you know, Naha, I mean, they just bring so much to this thing. It's just incredible. We need to all get on this thing and have a good time and shoot the blast and make it like a locker room talk. Yeah. And, you know, and shoot the bull. Who cares? I mean, this is, you know, I mean, this is not on local TV. It's cable, you know, I mean, we could do this. So it'd be fun. Let's do it.
Yeah. This is therapy, Boomer.
Yeah. Lenny, he has to sing. Nah has to, what is your good night song? Nah.
Hey, Boomer, one thing. Hey, did you really have a 44-inch vertical jump?
I did.
3-sport high school player.
I did.
Hey.
I did. That's 50 years ago. 55
Boomer,
years ago.
If you got baseball, basketball, football.
Yes.
Who was your it person when you were 15, 16? Who was your favorite athlete? Which sport?
Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle was my favorite. And I signed, before I signed with the Yankees, I signed a basketball scholarship to go to UCLA. John Wooten,
really?
I signed a letter of intent. Yes. And then I signed a football scholarship with Bear Bryant to go to University of Alabama. So I had an opportunity to go to Alabama or UCLA. I signed a letter of intent. When you sign a letter of intent, that means is if you play football or basketball, you cannot just drop out of that. You have to sign with that school. And, you know, but the Yankees drafted me #1 and I got lucky. And, you know, being Jewish and living up in New York, and, you know, coming down from the South and coming up to New York, I mean, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer.
Do you remember meeting your hero for the first time down in spring training?
Oh, yeah, no, I met him when I first signed my contract.
Really?
Mickey Mantle, oh, absolutely. When I came up, it was 3,000 people in Yankee Stadium, and Mickey Mantle was, he was just getting taped up, and he looked like a mummy from his ankles all the way up to his head. And wonderful guy. I don't know if you ever met Mickey, anything like that, but what a wonderful. You know what? I don't have anything bad about Sorley. Anybody. Oh, wake up! What are you doing, Lenny? You're tired, huh?
Lenny.
You got to understand, you don't text. So I actually call you up on your phone and tell you to try to wrap it up because it's late.
Okay.
That didn't work, so I started to yawn. Oh!
Get Naha to do
That's
it.
a code.
Good night.
Hey.
Naha, you got a good night, mate?
I don't know. I don't know. I need to think about it.
Don't grab that guitar, Naha. Your fingers are going to play something for us
Yeah.
to go off the air with you and that guitar.
Yeah.
There we go. One more time. Bill Nahorady, lead singer and lead guitarist.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive.
The Beatles.
Wonderful.
Sorry, it's hard to just pick it up, man.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you, okay. I just wanted to let y'all know, thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. You know, y'all are wonderful. I know you're tired and everything like that. And Naha and Raybone and Billy, y'all have done an unbelievable job. You know, I love y'all to death. You know, you're part of our family, you're part of, you know, and whatever. Anything you need from us, you know, please don't hesitate to contact us or whatever, because we're going to do this again. And, you know, Mr. Lenny and Mr. Joe are, those are the ones that put something together. And like Billy said, we're going to get some ball players, other people that like to hit. And I know Raybone wants to talk about hitting some more. So, so we'll talk about it.
All right, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you,
guys.
Billy.
Billy,
Thank you, Ray.
Come on, I want to
Hey,
be
Ron.
in
See
your
you
bed. Hey, Raybone,
Yes, sir.
Naha, thank you. I love y'all, big guy. Love you.
Love you, brother. Thank
Contact.
you. See you,
Love you.
Naha.
Thank
All right, my brother.
Thank you,
Nice
guys.
Billy.
seeing y'all.
Bye,
I
brother.
love y'all.
Thank
Love
you.
y'all. Good night. Good night,
Good
Joe.
Step up.
Oh.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks.
Wow.
All right.
You just got Ron Bloomberg to come to
Oh,
our
is
next
Billy's
event.
still here.
That's
Let
who
me-
I don't know if I know them.
So,
I don't know how to get Billy.
you know, especially in your family, the old time Yankee fans,
Talking over us. I don't know what to do.
um,
Oh, I can remove him. I'm sorry.
Mantle was getting near the end.
Wow. Wow. This
Hold
was
on.
good.
I think I just did something bad. I thought I was removing him from the room. I think I permanently removed him from Zoom because I got something that came up. Do I want to report him?
Mm.
Yeah, that was great. The insights were great. I mean,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
This
you know,
this was great.
the charity work and stuff that these guys do is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Really
and
phenomenal.
what's interesting about that, and I want to talk a little bit about this because not too many people realize how involved they really do get. And as you saw, Ray really got emotional with the story, and it's like this is not something that even us that we've gone to all these events, we've never seen, you know, something like that, and it's good to see this.
And Billy does great work with his charity and all these players.
Yeah,
who go
no,
to-
Billy's great, and you know, yes, we're definitely going to take him up on that offer to bring in other players. So
Oh yeah,
thank
definitely.
you everyone
Also,
for
to let people
watching,
know,
and
yeah, the next few weeks, we're going to have some very familiar names. I don't want to drop them yet because we're working on the dates, but we are going to have some very familiar names.
yes,
So Everybody have a great night. And thank you for visiting with us once again. And I don't know, I hope everything's all right. Ron hasn't called me yet. It's been like about 30. He hasn't called yet. I don't know. Maybe he was tired also.
Maybe.
All right, my brother. Good night.
Good night.